Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm grateful that you're here, whether you're live on Facebook or live on YouTube, or you are watching the replay. I'm not seeing my little green light that I expected to see. Oh, there we go. Okay, all good. I'm Kelley Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lubbock, Texas. And I have been a demonstrator since 2005. So I'm thrilled to share with you today a little bit more about the virtual card retreat that Stampin' Up! Had this past weekend. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate you stopping by. Hi back. We both attended. Tanya and Sharon and Eileen and I are ones from Lubbock. I'm not sure who all else was able to attend the Stampin' Up! Retreat, but it is incredible. It was so worth the investment. And you can still participate if you want. You missed the live, that was this weekend, but you can still do everything at your own pace. It has all the videos and prep, and you'll get the instructions, everything. But I highly recommend this retreat, and you better jump on board. If you like these cards and techniques and everything, you better jump on board when they do the next one so that you get your kit early, because I'm sure after all the wonderful rave reviews they've gotten that they'll be doing another one soon, and this one could sell out, so you never know. But if you have any questions about it, holler back at me. I would love to help you order your kit and help you answer any questions about the follow-up for it. Today we're going to go through, these are cards number 4 through 6, and we didn't do them in this order at the retreat, but those are the numerical order for the cards, so that was easier for me to keep up with. But I'm going to show you kind of some tips and techniques that I learned, and some of them I went back to that I'd done before, but it had been a long time, and some of them were new to me. So we had a lot of fun. And I will switch the camera over. So we're going to start with card number 4. If you missed cards 1 through 3, just go back and watch that video after this one if you want. This one, we did what is called a kissing technique. Let me show you up close. Can you see how there are kind of reversed out words a little bit to give those flowers texture? It's not just a solid stamped flower. So I will show you how to do that. We also did some stamping on the designer series paper that we got that's exclusive to this event. And if you want to know more about what we got in the event, got in the kit, let me know, or you can go back to video 1. I showed quite a few things there. But we stamped on the DSP. We also did this little locking mechanism, which is just a die cut that's just folded under like that. So you open it this way. But we use the same technique on the front that we did the kissing technique. And then this is 2-step stamping for the leaves, for those leaves and for these leaves. So I'll show you both of those. And then I did a little blending on this. I don't believe they had that on theirs. They left it white, but I don't do a lot of white on white. So I wanted a little color on mine. So I did a little blending. And let me show you how to do the kissing technique. Not the kind you're thinking of, but the crafting kind of kissing. Let's see. We're going to take a piece of our scrap paper that we've been working on. We worked on in the other video. I'll show you this one first. And this is our Berry Burst color, which is very bright and happy and cheery. Love it. And we're going to get a pretty juicy, it can't be too juicy, but it needs to have some juice anyway. I'll show you the difference. I'm going to show you one that's solid stamped in Berry Bliss, and this is pretty juicy, like might be too much. And then we're going to take this stamp that has the texture on it and kiss it to this stamp. I'm going to hold it down, and I'm just going to press down on it and pull straight back up. Now I'm going to show you the difference in texture that makes. Not a whole lot there because, like I said, I thought I re-inked mine and over-inked. Let's see what it does once I've stamped off. What happens with the texture then? Yep, you still see it, not as much. Let me stamp again, not quite so heavily. And this is the old style stamp pad. For some reason, I never upgraded my... I'm going to go ahead and do that twice. And do that over there, over here. Take a little bit more of that color off. Now we'll try it. Straight down, straight up. Try not to wiggle. There we go. We have more of the texture in that one. So you can see that's what the kissing technique does. You start with a solid stamp, ink it up, and then take your text or some kind of pattern to it, to the stamp, and then press it on there like I did. Press it on like that to kiss your other stamp, and then it takes the ink off of this one so that it leaves those little spaces. Isn't that fun? Gives it a little texture. Fun, fun, fun. Sharon skipped the kissing part. That's funny. Yeah, well, it's an easy thing to do, but I haven't done it in a while, so I thought that was fun. And then we'll do a little two-step stamping like we did on the leaves. And two-step stamping is not the kind you do at a dance hall. This is a little bit different. We're going to take the first step is stamping, and I usually stamp the detail first, and then I come back with the solid stamp, but it just depends. Sometimes I'll do the opposite. Do you do that, Sharon? Do you start with the detail or do you start with the solid usually when you're doing two-step stamping? I'm going to get this berry burst off of this stamp real quick. Okay. Sorry. I know that's loud. I forget how loud that is on a video. Okay, we've done that stamping. We're going to go with the second step of the two-step stamping. I'm going to use lemon lime twist on this. The first one was old olive. So I usually do the darker ink as the outline, and then I come back with the lighter ink to fill it in. So you can see why that's called two-step stamping, because you have to do one step before the other. It is not required to do the outline first, but it just kind of depends. Hi, Andrea. I'm glad you joined too. Both of y'all doing, you and Sharon both do detail. All right. Awesome. Thanks for joining. Andrea, did you get to do the retreat also? It was so fun. That was so well done. We had great presenters. They were really, it was awesome. The concept artists who did all the design of it, we got a lot of backstage talking, you know, we learned a lot of behind the scenes kind of stuff. So, and they had fun together. It was really a lot of fun. Okay, so that's that. And you know how to use a blending brush just on that banner. If you want to do that, add a little color that way. And that was, I just thought that was a fun little technique that would be for a fellow crafter. Because if they're not a crafter, like I gave it to my husband and said, open this card. And he just was like, I don't know how to open it. I don't know how. So you'd have to give a hint to your friends or something. If they're not crafters, that would figure out that that's the closure for the label. But we did the same stamping inside, and then we also did it on the envelope. I just did a little bit here. You could also stamp on the flap if you want. Okay, well, that's all of that card. Now we're moving on to card number 5. And this one was really different. Can you believe all these same styles came out of the same packet or same kit with the designer series paper and stamp sets, but you can make such different cards with them. Okay, so this is totally more of a modern kind of thing, I think. I like it. I really do. And these look like designer series paper, but this is that dotted paper that we had on the other one. It started off plain Jane like this one. And then we added flowers there. And here we used the texture stamp. You can tell we just lined it up and stamped in old olive ink all along that strip. And then this strip, I'll show you what that looks like when you just stamp it. And so you can see how the blends bleed through. I'm going to go ahead and stamp over there. We'll just stamp in the Secret C. So you can see a difference that that would make. So if you didn't want to take the time to heat emboss, you could kind of get an effect like this. Okay, we're going to, there you go. There's that stamp, which that could be used on so many things. And especially with our stamp positioner tool that we have now, you could make little rows of that and then stamp in between or do lots of fun things with it. But if y'all haven't heard, Stampin' Up! Does have a new stamping positioner tool that you can get free with your starter kit if you join right away. If you're currently a demonstrator, you can do the pre-order till February 2nd. But after that, you won't be able to get it for a while, and we don't know when. So back to this. Skipped around a little. So you can tell this was embossed with silver. We stamped it in Versamark and then embossed that in silver. These little bitty strips. So there it is, just stamped, and then here it is in silver on Secret C. And the way we did this is we kind of lined up the strips that they told us how to do it in the kit. They told us exactly how to cut the strips. And yes, Sharon, I like that stripe pattern too. That's really, it is a cool one. It can be used for a lot of things. Okay, so we lined up the pieces on our card front. We actually worked on just this part before we adhered it to the back. We just worked on this piece, and this is a two-tone cloud cover piece. Okay, so we laid this on here, and then we glued like one little area. Like if we knew this one was going to be our centerpiece. I don't remember exactly how we did this, Sharon. Y'all may be able to help. But we kind of picked one area. I think we glued the middle of some of these right here. Glued just on the back of this in the middle. And then that way it tacked it down where we wanted it. And I kind of did it at an angle to match this angle in the die cut here that was provided for us. This is one of the dies that comes in that Forever Floral set that will be in the annual mini, I mean, not the annual, the mini catalog coming up in April. So I took these straight across at that angle, glued them right on the back of these, and then kind of started at one end and wove these. You just kind of, we don't stick it. You just wove them like this piece, you know, was going to be over the green. So that meant the white piece had to be under the green and then the green on top of the green. Does that make sense? And then say, it's easier to look down. Well, yeah, this blue piece would be under this blue piece, over the white, under the green. The white is over, under, over. So everything you just worked with over, under, over, over, under, over, both ways. And then you got one corner like you wanted it. And then you kind of moved over to another corner and did the same thing. We got it all woven right. And then you picked a corner, lifted those up carefully, put glue on the back, and secured that corner. So you glue it like that. And then, oh, Sharon just overlapped hers. She didn't weave. Yeah, I can be a rebel too, Sharon. I sure can. But I did weave mine. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought it was going to take forever. But once you get these down where they're not all shifting, if you glue them in the middle there, because you know you need your ends free so that you can weave the ends. But glue those first and then start at one end, get that woven right, get these woven right all the way around. Then glue one corner at a time and make sure it's keeping that same angle. And that's it. It's a little time consuming, but it's not bad. And then we emboss the label with silver embossing powder. And then I used Wink of Stella around the edges. And I did my twine on top. I think they did theirs as a separate piece in the weaving. I'm not sure exactly. You couldn't watch and do and listen and everything all at once. It was a lot. So I finished a lot of my cards that third day. It took me another full day to get them done. But then I had extra pieces that I had stamped, so you can tell with that texture stamp, and had already embossed that little strip to go on the inside. And I just kind of put mine in at the same angle as the front to make it all go together. But that's it, unless y'all have any questions about that. I'll move on to, oh, did I skip number 5? I skipped number 5. Sorry, that was number 6. I went out of order. Typical. Okay, so card number 5 is this one where we used a stencil. And I'll show you that. In fact, I flashed it in the ones earlier. And let's see. This was done in Old Olive, Petal Pink, and Berry Burst. And I'll show you what we did with just one part of it here. And let's see, where my Berry Burst. I had a little brush right here. Okay, I'll show you one part. And then this piece had hearts all in it that we punched the hearts out and saved those separately, which would be cute if you wanted to like throw them in the envelope so that whoever opens this up, the little hearts would go everywhere. That would be cute. But we punched them out so that we could use this as a stencil. And then we taped the stencil down with like you could use Post-it notes. You could use whatever you wanted. I think these are the ones that I used, actually. I used the Post-it notes and just made this go all the way around the border. That was obviously the Berry Burst part right there. So you tape it all the way down to your paper, either Post-it notes or something that comes up easily, but it'll keep it now, but it's a temporary adhesive. And then carefully just tap off with your Berry Burst and then go on like this. I don't remember if we did blending brushes or sponge daubers. We might have done sponge daubers. Do you remember, Sharon or Andrea? I don't know, but you could do it either way. Sponge daubers or blending brush until you get it the way you want it. And you would start, if you're going to do this whole thing, you would start always with the lightest color. Start with a Petal Pink and then go to the Berry Burst and then go to the green. And that way you wouldn't contaminate your light ink pad with your dark ones. So Sharon used blending brushes on hers too. So there you go. That's how you use a stencil. But you see right here where I didn't have it taped off, dang it. And I was going to use this on a card and I just went right over the edge. Well, I'll have to fix that. Another opportunity. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how the stenciling worked. But that's it. You would start with your Petal Pink and then go to the Berry Burst and then go to your Old Olive. And that's the way that would work. And then whatever you don't have covered up, like if you have a teeny little bit there that's not covered with your pads, well, then that's where you get this right here. Oops, boo-boo. But I thought this is a good teaching opportunity. If I show this card in a class, I'll say, make sure you get your Post-it notes or whatever you're using to tack it down. Make sure you get that all tacked down before you do this. So, okay, then I went along on this piece of paper, which was just a Secret C, or they said it was Secret C. It seemed more like a basic gray, like I said, but I guess it was Secret C two-tone cardstock in a light. And then I went over it with the Wink of Stella before I put it down, so I would have more contrast between this and that. And this white piece of paper, we went ahead and stamped the big stamp that I showed you on the earlier video. Let me show you these again. I didn't show those on this one yet. These are the 2 stamp sets we got, and then we got coordinating dies for the Forever Florals. This stamp set is exclusive to this retreat. So if you don't get the retreat in a box, then you won't have this stamp set. But it was a ton of fun, and I highly recommend it, even if you can't do it live. So here's the die sheet. This is the Forever Florals dies that coordinate with that one. So all of that is part of the kit that comes with the kit that comes with the retreat. Okay, there we go. Back to this. Now, on this label, we took a piece of the two-tone Petal Pink cardstock, I believe, and embossed on the Love You in white. on it. And then I went back and took my petal pink brush, blending brush, and went over it to kind of make it a little bit darker around that so that this would pop up. That's called emboss resist when you're trying to go around the embossing, and you'll have a different color back there. So that's it. And then the so much is on one line, and I just cut them apart because I couldn't, it stuck out too far. I couldn't get it arranged properly the other way. But I went in and added a little wink of Stella, and you can tell I had just squeezed mine. So I got a little bit much right there, but it was still fun. And I added the bow, I think. I don't think they had a bow on theirs. I'm a big linen twine kind of gal. So that's the way they had theirs, but I didn't want to cover up the bottom of my Y with the so much, so I did it this way. But I think it's a cute card, another very creative card showing different techniques. And then not only did we do that, but we did it on the back of the envelope, and I left my flap plain so you could kind of see this same flower pattern, but I just did the stenciling here and then did the stenciling on the inside also, as I showed you. So that is card number 5. So now you have cards 4, 5, and 6 from the retreat. Do you have any questions, anybody, before I sign off? And then I'm going to do a video with the next 3 shortly. So hope you'll stay tuned in or come back in and share with your crafty friends. Thanks for fellow demonstrators, Andrea and Sharon, for tuning in. Sorry I missed Tanya on this one. Let's see. They did, Sharon, I just saw that about the banter back and forth. That was amazing. That was really, that you could tell they were having a lot of fun on that. And that's kind of what it's all about, right? We love to craft. We love to have fun together. It's a sense of community. And I'm so glad that y'all are part of our Create with Kelley crew and love paper crafting like I do. So I will show you these cards again. If you have any questions, let me know. If y'all are interested in the retreat, I'm happy to help you with that. You can still get it. You get everything that we got except for the live. So all of the prep videos, all the videos of how to make it, you can pause and do it at your own speed. And you'll still get to hear all the community that they had at Stampin' Up. It was just a lot of fun. So I highly recommend it. Okay, let's see if we have anything else. I don't think so. So y'all have a great afternoon. I hope you'll tune back in for another video to show you how we changed up and what we did on the next cards. Thanks again. Fun times ahead. Bye.